So there's a lot to this, like a lot. So I'll go through as much as I can remember off the top of my head of kind of what I go through with the customers that come in daily. So Candlepin bowling balls are like these, okay? There are no finger holes. You kind of just palm the ball, all right? So these are a lot smaller than 10-pin bowling balls. So this is the comparison here. So these have a diameter of 4.5 inches. Bowling balls are on average 10.5 inches in diameter. All right, and then the weight. Candlepin bowling balls can be up to 2 pounds and 7 ounces, which is what all of my bowling balls here in my alley are. And I mean, your regular 10-pin bowling balls can get up to 16 pounds. So less weight is less momentum, to drive right through the rack of pins. So you got to remember that too. And then the other thing is that the pins are a lot thinner. So that was the bowling balls. Now we'll look at the pins. So a Candlepin, I mean, is literally candle-like, hence the name. So this is literally what you are bowling at, okay? And then we've got your regular 10-pin, all right? So they're definitely a little bit different. So a pin in 10-pin is 3.5 pounds, if I remember correctly. The pins here are 2 pounds 8 ounces, so they are literally an ounce off from my bowling balls. So they're pretty cool. So, and then from there, I'll show you the difference when the setup. So there's still 10 pins in every single lane when you go to hit them. The actual like diamond setup, you know, when you think about your like 1, 9, and 10, like all that's still the same. It is just a different pin, but because of how thin they are, there's a lot of gap space. So that's what we're gonna move on to next. So upon looking at this setup, you can see that, like I said, it's set up the same as regular 10-pin bowling, but do you see the gaps that are in between the pins? So I'm gonna move you so that you can see just how big those gaps are. You can actually, believe it or not, fit 2 bowling balls in between every pin. And so let me grab 2 bowling balls for you. So you can literally do a curveball and go right through those pins without hitting anything, okay? So that definitely makes it a whole lot harder. So with more space, you're gonna have more clean misses. There's gonna be less of a chain reaction. Pin action is also much weaker. Pins do fly sideways. They bounce around in 10-pin. And Candlepin, they really tip over instead of exploding through the rack. So I'll bowl here in just a minute for you guys to see actually. So you'll see as I bowl that the pins don't carry into the neighboring pins nearly as effectively as it does in 10-pin. And then you also have deadwood. So as I bowl, you're gonna see the laid down pins. They don't get swept away like they do in 10-pin. So you do get to use those to your advantage, which you would think would make it easier, but honestly, sometimes it can ruin your whole game. This is more of a game of luck than it is skill. Sometimes the deadwood can knock over standing pins, it can block your shot, it can deflect your ball, and it can also create impossible spare combinations too. You also can't always count on the pocket in Candlepin. In 10-pin, hitting the pocket usually produces a really strong chain reaction, but in Candlepin, a perfect pocket hit can still leave the 7-pin, or the 10-pin, or the 5-pin. Perfect execution doesn't guarantee a strike in Candlepin. Another thing is that there is no oil pattern like 10-pin bowlers often use to hook to increase the strike percentages. Candlepin lanes are not oiled. Some places have been starting to do it, but they are just straight maple wood here, and there is nothing on it. So that makes it hard without the oil patterns. In Candlepin, accuracy actually matters way more than power. Throwing harder rarely solves problems. Instead, the players rely on precise targeting, speed control, angles, and using the deadwood strategically. Every spare in Candlepin is also very different. Because deadwood stays, there's no two spare attempts that are identical. You also have to bank the ball off the wood. Sometimes you have to intentionally hit a fallen pin instead of a standing one. And since the ball is smaller, you can't cover as much area, so converting wide splits is significantly harder. There's also less margin for error. Missing your target by even half an inch, the ball can slip between the pins, it can glance off one pin, have an unexpected cluster. There's a lot of different things that can happen. There is no miss room either. Tenpin bowlers often will talk about quote-unquote miss room, where a slight miss still carries for a strike. Candlepin offers very little forgiveness. Slight misses are much more likely to leave pins standing. Pin deflection is really unpredictable. Once the pins are tall and narrow, they can spin, bounce, slide, stand back up briefly before falling, those are a pain, and also deflect in unusual directions. You never can actually tell what they are going to do. You would think that having a third ball in Candlepin would make it easier, because yes, you get 3 shots per frame and still have 10 frames. In reality though, the third ball mostly gives you another chance to improve the pin count after the frame. It doesn't really increase strike opportunities because a strike will still happen on the first ball. So you can get a strike with the first ball. If you get all the pins down on the second ball, that's your spare. And if you get all the pins down on your third ball, it just counts as 10 points. Tens of thousands of sanctioned 10-pin 300 scored games have been bowled, and no one has ever gotten 300 in Candlepin. The highest sanctioned single string score remains today at 245. A score that might seem average in 10-pin can be an excellent Candlepin game. Experienced players often celebrate scores that would be considered modest in 10-pin because consistent marks are much harder to string together. And to wrap this video up for you, every frame is different. Unlike 10-pin where the lane resets after each ball is thrown, Candlepin constantly changes the playing field. Every piece of deadwood, every remaining frame, every deflection creates a different puzzle to solve. This is why many longtime Candlepin bowlers say the game rewards precision, creativity, and strategy more than raw power. It's not just a harder version of bowling, it's a fundamentally different challenge. But it is so much fun, and I would totally recommend trying it out. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys made it to the end of the video and I didn't bore you. And